Reading through the Bible in a year, January 17th, Genesis 18, Matthew 17, Nehemiah chapter 7, and Acts 17. Now Yahweh appeared to him by the oaks of Mamre, while he was sitting at the tent door in the heat of the day. When he lifted up his eyes and looked, behold, 3 men were standing opposite him. When he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them, and bowed himself to the earth, and said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in your sight, please do not pass your servant by. Please let a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will bring you a piece of bread, that you may refresh yourselves. After that you may go on, since you have visited your servant. And they said, So do as you have said. So Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah, and said quickly, Prepare 3 measures of fine flour, knead it, and make bread cakes. Abraham also ran to the herd, and took a tender and choice calf, and gave it to the servant, and he hurried to prepare it. And he took curds and milk, and the calf which they had prepared, and placed it before them. And he was standing by them under the tree as they ate. Then they said to him, Where is Sarah, your wife? He said, There in the tent. He said, I will surely return to you at this time next year. Behold, Sarah, your wife, will have a son. And Sarah was listening at the tent door, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, advanced in age. Sarah was past childbearing. She was at this point 90 years old. And Sarah laughed to herself, saying, After I become old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? Is anything too difficult for Yahweh? At the appointed time, I will return to you. At this time next year, Sarah will have a son. Sorry, I skipped ahead. I skipped verse 13. Let's go back to it. And Yahweh said to Abraham, Why did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I indeed bear a child when I am so old? Is anything too difficult for Yahweh? At the appointed time, I will return to you at this time next year, and Sarah will have a son. Sarah denied it, however, saying, I did not laugh, for she was afraid. And he said, No, but you did laugh. Then the men rose from there and looked down towards Sodom, and Abraham was walking with them to send them off. And Yahweh said, Shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do? Since Abraham will surely become a great and mighty nation, and in him all the nations of the earth will be blessed. For I have chosen him, so that he may command his children and his household after him to keep the way of Yahweh, by doing righteousness and justice, so that Yahweh may bring upon Abraham what he has spoken about him. And Yahweh said, The outcry of Sodom and Gomorrah is indeed great, and their sin is exceedingly grave. I will now, making sure I don't lose my notes here, continuing on. I will go down now, and see if they have done entirely according to its outcry, which has come to me, and if not, I will know. Then the men turned away from there and went towards Sodom, while Abraham was still standing before Yahweh. And Abraham came near and said, Will you indeed sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there are 50 righteous within that city. Will you indeed sweep it away and not spare the place for the sake of 50 righteous who are in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to slay the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous and the wicked will be treated alike. Far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth deal justly? So Yahweh said, If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare the whole place on their account. And Abraham replied, But now behold, I have ventured to speak to the Lord, although I am but dust and ashes. Suppose that the 50 are righteous or are lacking 5. Will you destroy it? Making sure I don't lose notes here. It did that Logos thing where it jumped ahead because I was pulling something over here, but let me make sure where I am. There we go, verse 28. Suppose the 50 righteous are lacking 5. Will you destroy the whole city because of the 5? He said, I will not destroy it if I find 45 living there. And he spoke to him yet again, Suppose 40 are found there. He said, I will not do it on account of the 40. Then he said, Oh, may the Lord not be angry, and I shall speak. suppose 30 are found there. He said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And he said, now behold, I have ventured to speak to the Lord. Suppose 20 are found there. He said, I will not destroy it on account of the 20. Then he said, oh, may the Lord not be angry. And I shall speak only this once. Suppose 10 are found there. He said, I will not destroy it on account of the 10. Surely Abraham was thinking there's got to be at least 10 people in that city so that everybody will be spared. He's hoping for the 10. And as soon as he had finished speaking to Abraham, Yahweh departed, and Abraham returned to his place. You can read the bottom text, you might know what's coming. Moving on now to Matthew 17. Six days later, let's roll back a quick second here. Just before this, again, the same text comes every single time. There are some people who have lots of different views about this. There's a lot of notes written on it as well. I say read the notes. I'm not going to speculate any further, but I will read this text because it always comes right before this line. Truly I say to you, says Jesus, there are some of those who are standing here who will not taste death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. 6 days later, Jesus took with him Peter and James and John, his brother, and led them up on a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them, meaning that his image and who he was changed before them. And his face shone like the sun, and his garments became white as light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with him. And Peter said to Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will make 3 tabernacles, or tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. Now, Moses is representing the law of God. Elijah is representing the prophets. That's why they're there. While he was still speaking, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice out of the cloud said, This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. The disciples heard this. They fell face down to the ground and were terrified. And Jesus came to them and touched them and said, Get up and do not be afraid. And lifting up their eyes, they saw no one except Jesus himself alone. As they were coming down from the mountain, Jesus commanded them, saying, Tell the vision to no one until the Son of Man has risen from the dead. And his disciples asked him, Well, why then do they say that the scribes say that Elijah must come first? He answered and said, Elijah is coming and will restore all things. But I say to you that Elijah already came. They did not recognize him, but did to him whatever they wished. So also the Son of Man is going to suffer at their hands. Then the disciples understood that he had spoken to them about John the Baptist. When they came to the crowd, a man came up to Jesus, falling on his knees before him, saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic and is very ill. For he often falls into the fire and often into the water. I brought him to your disciples, and they could not cure him. Now, in other tellings of the same section, the Pharisees were arguing with the people. The assumption given is that, arguing with the disciples, the assumption given is that, you have no power aside from that Jesus gives, and kind of mocking them because they couldn't do this simple thing. And so when Jesus comes up to them, that's the background behind what we see, right? So as Jesus is coming down from the mountain, there's a sharp disagreement happening between the disciples and these religious leaders who are using it to kind of mock them, the fact that they couldn't save this person. So that's when this father comes running up. And Jesus answered and said, You unbelieving and perverted generation. These are those to whom he is responding. How long shall I be with you? And how long shall I put up with you? Bring him here to me. And Jesus rebuked him, and the demon came out of him, and the boy was cured at once. The disciples came privately to Jesus and said, Why could we not drive it out? And he said to them, Because of the littleness of your faith. For truly I say to you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, Move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. Now, two notes. One, this is the first time we're coming across this, move a mountain speech. And second, we have a bracketed text. So, to the point, the moving a mountain, or telling a mountain move from here to there, this was a common idiom for something that is impossible in first century kind of Jewish talk. It was a normal thing for them to say. So that's what he's talking about when he's referencing something that they would already know as an impossible task, because it's kind of a common statement for people to say. But Jesus says that that is not impossible if done in faith. Second, we are at a bracketed section. We've talked about these before. So anytime we see this bracketed section, remember what it means. It means that this is a section of text that we find here in later translations and later copies, but that isn't found in the oldest and best kept manuscripts. And I say manuscripts, some of these are parchments, but for these texts, specifically of the Gospels, we have very many large copies that cover, if not the entire thing, certainly the vast majority of them. And the oldest known copies do not have this line in there. However, this is a line that's copied from, I think it's Mark? Yeah, from Mark 29. So most likely, remember, because when these were sent out, you might only have the book of Matthew. You may not have you may not have the Gospel of Mark or the Gospel of Luke, right? So when these people are copying them to send them to different places, sometimes they would insert these lines into here to give a bit more explanation. Again, that little carrot you put on the side to let people know, hey, there's this other thing that eventually gets written into the text as if it were there. So people expect it to be there, so I'm going to read it in the normal way that I do. I'm going to read the verse before, the disputed verse, 21, and then 22, and then I'll roll back, and I'll just start at 20, and I'll roll right through without that disputed verse in there. Let's begin. And he said to them, because of the littleness of your faith, for truly I say to you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. But this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting. And while they were gathering together in Galilee, Jesus said to them, the Son of Man is going to be delivered into the hands of men. They will kill him, and he will be raised on the third day. They were deeply grieved. Now, without the disputed text. And he said to them, because of the littleness of your faith, for truly I say to you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible to you. And while they were gathering together in Galilee, Jesus said to them, the Son of Man is going to be delivered into the hands of men, and they will kill him, and he will be raised on the third day. And they were deeply grieved. When they came to Capernaum, those who collected the 2 drachma tax came to Peter and said, does your teacher not pay the 2 drachma tax? And he said, yes. When he came into the house, Jesus spoke to him first. So he didn't go up to Jesus asking him. Jesus stopped him and said, come here. Jesus says, what do you think, Simon? From whom do the kings of the earth collect customs or poll tax? From their sons or from strangers? When Peter said, from strangers, Jesus said to him, then the sons are exempt. However, so that we do not offend them, go to the sea and throw in a hook and take the first fish that comes up. When you open its mouth, you will find a shekel. Take that and give it to them for you and me. Bringing up the rest of the notes so we don't lose them here. And moving on to Nehemiah chapter 7. Now, when the wall was rebuilt, and I had set up the doors, and the gatekeepers and the singers and the Levites were appointed, then I put Hanani, my brother, and Hananiah, the commander of the fortress, in charge of Jerusalem, for he was a faithful man and feared God more than many. Then I said to them, do not let the gates of Jerusalem be opened until the sun is hot, and while they are standing guard, let them shut and bolt the doors. Also, appoint guards from the inhabitants of Jerusalem, each at his post, and each in front of his own house. Now the city was large and spacious, but the people in it were few, and the houses were not rebuilt. Then my God put it in my heart to assemble the nobles, the officials, and the people to be enrolled by genealogies. Then I found the book of the genealogies of those who came up first, in which I found the following record. These are the people of the province who came up from the captivity of the exiles, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away, and who returned to Jerusalem and Judah, to each to his city, who came with Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Nehemiah, Azariah, Raamiah, Nahamani, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mizpareth, Bigvai, Nahum, Baanah, the number of the men of the people of Israel. The sons of Parosh, 2,172. The sons of Shephatiah, 372. The sons of Ara, 652. The sons of Pahath Moab, of the sons of Jeshua and Joab, 2,818. The sons of Elam, 1,254. The sons of Zatu, 845. The sons of Zakkai, 760. The sons of Benui, 648. The sons of Bebai, 628. The sons of Asgad, 2,322. The sons of Adonakam, 667. The sons of Bigvai, 2,067. The sons of Adin, 655. The sons of Ater of Hezekiah, 98. The sons of Hashum, 328. The sons of Bezai, 324. The sons of Hariph, 112. The sons of Gibeon, 95. The men of Bethlehem and Netophah, 188. The men of Anathoth, 128. The men of Beth Asmaveth, 42. The men of Kiriath Jearim, Shephirah, and Beeroth, 743. The men of Ramah and Geba, 621. The men of Michmas, 122. The men of Bethel and Ai, 123. The men of the other Nebo, 52. The sons of the other Elam, 1,254. The sons of Harim, 320. The men of Jericho, 345. The sons of Lod, Hadid, and Ono, 721. The sons of Sanaa, 3,930. The priests, the sons of Jediah of the house of Jeshua, 973. The sons of Immer, 1,052. The sons of Pashur, 1,247. The sons of Harim, 1,017. The Levites, the sons of Jeshua of Kadmiel, of the sons of Hodeva, 74. The singers, the sons of Asaph, 148. The gatekeepers, the sons of Shallum, the sons of Atur, the sons of Talmon, the sons of Akub, the sons of Hatita, the sons of Shobai, 138. The temple servants, the sons of Ziha, the sons of Hashupha, the sons of Tabaoth, the sons of Keros, the sons of Sia, the sons of Padon, the sons of Labana, the sons of Hagaba, the sons of Shalmai, the sons of Hanan, the sons of Gedel, the sons of Gahar, the sons of Reiah, the sons of Razin, the sons of Nakoda, the sons of Gazam, the sons of Uzzah, the sons of Paseah, the sons of Bezai, the sons of Meunim, the sons of Nephushim. There we go. The sons of Bakbuk, the sons of Hakufa, the sons of Harhur, the sons of Bazlith, the sons of Mahida, the sons of Harsha, the sons of Barkos, the sons of Sisera, the sons of Tema, the sons of Neziah, the sons of Hatifa, the sons of Solomon's servants, the sons of Sotai, the sons of Sophereth, the sons of Perida, the sons of Jaalah, the sons of Darkon, the sons of Gedel, the sons of Shephatiah, the sons of Hatil, the sons of Pokreth Hazabaim, the sons of Amon. All the temple servants and the sons of Solomon's servants were 392. These were they who came up from Tel Melah and Tel Harsha, Kerub, Adon, and Immer. But they could not show their fathers' houses or their descendants, whether they were of Israel. The sons of Deliah, the sons of Tobiah, the sons of Nekoda, 642. Of the priests, the sons of Hobiah, the sons of Hakoz, the sons of Barzillai, who took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai the Gileadite, and was named after them. These searched among their ancestral registration, but it could not be located. Therefore, they were considered unclean and excluded from the priesthood. The governor said to them that they should not eat from the most holy things until a priest arose with Urim and Thummim. The whole assembly together was 42,360, besides their male and female servants, of whom there were 7,337, and they had 245 male and female singers. Their horses were 736, their mules 245, their camels 435, and their donkeys 6,720. Some from among the heads of fathers' households gave to the work. The governor gave to the treasury 1,000 gold drachmas, 50 basins, 530 priest garments. Some of the heads of fathers' households gave into the treasury of the work 20,000 gold drachmas and 2,200 silver minas. That which the rest of the people gave was 20,000 gold drachmas and 2,000 silver minas and 67 priest garments. Now, the priests, the Levites, the gatekeepers, the singers, some of the people, the temple servants, and all Israel lived in their cities. And when the 7th month came, all the sons of Israel were in their cities. Concluding today in Acts 17. Now, when they had traveled through Amphipolis and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where there was a synagogue of the Jews. And according to Paul's custom, he went to them, and for 3 Sabbaths reasoned with them from the Scriptures, explaining and giving evidence that the Christ had to suffer and rise again from the dead, saying, this Jesus, whom I am proclaiming to you, is the Christ. Remember, for generations they had been told that the Christ, when he comes, is going to be a political and military leader. They didn't expect him to be the suffering servant of Isaiah 53. And some of them were persuaded and joined Paul and Silas, along with a large number of the God-fearing Greeks and a number of the leading women. But the Jews, capital J Jews, this is the ruling class again, becoming jealous and taking along some wicked men from the marketplace, formed a mob and set the city in an uproar, and attacking the house of Jason, they were seeking to bring them out to the people. When they did not find them, they began dragging Jason and some brethren before the city authorities, shouting, "These men who have upset the world have come here also." And Jason has welcomed them. And they all act contrary to the decrees of Caesar, saying that there is another king, Jesus. They stirred up the crowd and the city authorities who heard these things. And when they had received a pledge, payment basically, from Jason and the others, they released them. The brethren immediately sent Paul and Silas away by night to Berea. And when they arrived, they went into the synagogue of the Jews. Now, these were more noble-minded than those in Thessalonica, for they received the word with great eagerness, examining the Scriptures daily to see whether these things were so. Therefore, many of them believed, along with a number of the prominent Greek women and men. But when the Jews from Thessalonica found out that the word of God had been proclaimed by Paul in Berea also, they came there as well, agitating and stirring up the crowds. Then, immediately, the brethren sent Paul out to go as far as the sea, and Silas and Timothy remained there. Now those who escorted Paul brought him as far as Athens, and receiving a command for Silas and Timothy to come to him as soon as possible, they left. So I'm going to pause here for a quick sec to just kind of give a bit more information. So, most people aren't theology nerds. Just putting it out there. I am. So, having read a couple systematic theologies, they all largely function the same way as the letter itself is started, or rather the books themselves go, because they all have to tell the same information, right? If you were going to give, and remember, think about what a systematic theology is. It's just a systematized explanation of what something is. And theology is just the study of God. Everyone is a theologian, says Dr. R.C. Sproul, who I miss every day. So if everyone's a theologian, we all have some idea of who God is. If you go to an atheist on the street, he will tell you his view of how the world works, which functionally is just theology. Everybody has some sort of a basic understanding of theology in one way or another. When we go through the book of Romans, you'll see that explained clearly. But that's days away. So, when you read through systematic theology books, they all have to start with the same basic understanding. It's you get a baseline layer of these simple questions. What is God? Right? Basic declarations of these things. Who is God? What power and authority does God have? What is the realm of things that God controls? And when you talk about these things, we need to talk about the full breadth of the power and authority that God has. What is the nature of God? Does he eat? Does he not eat? Does he, as many of the Greek and Roman gods did, were they fed by the gifts of their people? Where people would come up and offer sacrifice to them, and they physically ate the food that was sacrificed to them, such that if you didn't offer your food, then your God wouldn't eat, right? And does God give you blessings and honor for the simple act of worship? What does that worship look like? These are all the same basic questions that every systematic theology book has to go over. When we get to verse 22, which we're going to get to in a moment, starting here ahead of time, starting in verse 22, Paul goes into a systematized theology of who God is, because he's now in Athens. He's in a place that, as we're about to see, they worship many gods. In fact, they were so worried that they might miss a god that they had, and as we'll also see him mention, they had an altar created with the inscription "to the unknown God," because they were so worried about missing the God that they might have not found. Maybe he's over that hill over yonder, right? Maybe it's just we don't see him because he's a color that our eyes can't fathom or something, right? So they were so worried about this that that's what they wanted to see. They wanted to serve all of these gods in kind of this ecumenical paradise where all of these gods were welcomed and worshipped together. This is where Paul finds himself in verse 16. Now, while Paul was waiting for them at Athens, his spirit being provoked within him as he was observing the city full of idols, like bursting out of the walls. So he was reasoning in the synagogues with the Jews and the God-fearing Gentiles, and in the marketplace every day with those who happened to be present. And also some of the Epicurean and Stoic philosophers. Epicureans are people who believe that you have to go out and embrace all that life has, the seize the day people. And then the Stoic philosophers are those who believe that you should eschew everything in life. So much so that most of them didn't even eat food. They would eat food that was thrown away. That's the only food that they would eat. Something that no one else even bothers to want anymore. Those are the things that they would go up and eat. So these are the two bookends of the philosophers that existed. Kind of like how Jesus says that he is the Alpha and the Omega, right? The beginning and the end of the alphabet. He's the everything. These are these philosophers who were conversing with him. All of them were conversing, but notably the Epicurean and Stoics, the two bookends of these types of philosophy. They were conversing with him, and some were saying, what would this idle babbler wish to say? Babbler, because he speaks a foreign language. And others, he seemed to be a proclaimer of strange deities, because he was preaching Jesus and the resurrection. And they took him and brought him to the Areopagus, or Mars Hill, that we may, saying, may we know what this new teaching is that you are proclaiming. For you are bringing some strange things to our ears, and we want to know what these things mean. Now, all the Athenians and strangers visiting there used to spend their time in nothing other than telling or hearing something new. They wanted to know what the things are. So, verse 22. Paul stood in the midst of the Areopagus and said, "Men of Athens, I observe that you are very religious in all respects. For while I was passing through and examining the objects of your worship, I also found an altar with this inscription, 'To an unknown God.' Therefore, what you worship in ignorance, this I proclaim to you." Saying, the God that you completely missed? Let me tell you about him. The God who made the world and all things in it, since he is Lord of heaven and earth, does not dwell in temples made with hands, nor is he served by human hands as though he needed anything, since he himself gives to all people life and breath and all things. And he made from one man every nation of mankind to live on all the face of the earth, having determined their appointed times and boundaries of their habitation. So he's the creator God of the entire universe in which our solar system and Earth hang, that he is responsible for all things that live and the things that don't have breath in them, and that he's created all of these things for a purpose. Moreover, he doesn't get fed, he doesn't eat from what we provide to him, and he needs nothing from us. He's not dependent on us, on his creation at all. He also is the God of nations and national boundaries. He cares about these things. Remember how I was talking about before with systematic theology? This is him laying out these basic building blocks of Christian theology. Especially the fact that it says here at the end of verse 26 that God has determined the very borders of every nation under heaven. Why? Verse 27, that they would seek God, if perhaps they might grope for him and find him. Though he is not far from each one of us. For in him we live and move and exist, even as some of your own poets have said, quote, "For we are all his children," unquote, and quote, "Being then the children of God, we ought not to think the divine nature is like gold or silver or stone, an image formed by the art and thought of man. Having therefore overlooked the times of ignorance." Remember, ignorance isn't anything to be ashamed of. It's just that you don't know, right? Having overlooked the times of ignorance, God is now declaring to men that all people everywhere should repent, because he has fixed a day in which he will judge the world in righteousness through a man whom he has appointed, having furnished proof to all men by raising him from the dead. Now, when they heard of the resurrection of the dead, some began to sneer, but others said, "But we shall hear you again concerning this." So Paul went out from their midst. But some men joined him and believed, among whom were Dionysius, the Areopagite, and a woman named Damaris, and others with them. And that is all the reading and all the notes for today. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. Behold, the word of the Lord.